Peace. You are in the foxhole with Naya Worry, talking about spirit reality with an African perspective. Listen, I done seen summer rain falling, and I done been built by the pain. Today we gonna be talking about the revolutionary. I often wonder at the possibility of the violence that we see, which permeates our inner city communities, hovering and circling above the heads of our children. Is it karmic energy? A force embodied in the unruly of us, those not yet assimilated, those not yet indoctrinated into the Western socio-economic. Walk with me for a moment. Slavery was outlawed only 157 years ago. The people who lived under that system of brutality had witnessed, heard of, or experienced rape, molestation, murder of those in their communities, in their families, the exploitation of their mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, sisters and brothers. How does one rationalize and reason through those experiences and find some sense of normalcy? A place in mind that would give shelter from the horror of those experiences. Keep in mind that not only were they contending with the hardships brought on by that brutal system, but they would also be subject to the hardships endured by everyone that comes through the matrix or the womb. They would have experienced love, romance, the exhilaration of achievement, marriage, and the birth of children. Likewise, they'd experience the heartache and disappointment that comes with those relationships. One would have to imagine that those things acquired under that system would seem fragile in one's hand. Principally, it would be akin to pulling up in your driveway after a 7-day work week, placing the key into the door of the home of which you are 6 months behind in the mortgage payment. It would be very hard to lay one's head on the pillow in some form of peace of mind. These were truly some extraordinary people. With that being said, the extraordinary nature of those people does not exempt them from the psychological trauma that would have been endured in such an environment. The impact of that trauma would be infectious, affecting every aspect of their lives and cultivating pathologies detrimental to the family unit. These behaviors would be written like code into the DNA of these Africans and passed down like an inheritance for generations to come. One behavior in particular has been of great detriment to our communities. The turning of the cheek in the face of abuse, or the turning of the blind eye to injustice. Both responses are fruit of the same vine that is responsible for the conditions in our communities today. In light of what has befallen our communities over the course of the last 157 years, I am telling you that there is no healing for our communities without justice. Justice is intrinsic to the nature of the divine source of our existence. To abscond from the execution of it is to alienate oneself from divine providence. If you were to turn the other cheek or turn a blind eye to the news of a cancerous tumor which had developed in your body, without intervention, you will surely die. Now, some will say, what about divine intervention, miraculous healing? And I say unto them, is not the growing of fruit, vegetables, and herbs miraculous? Cannot one influence the health of the body through herbal remedy, a change in nutritional regimen, daily physical exercise, and of course, ritual prayer and meditation? Are these not the miracles sown into divinity's creation? Would the Amen, Amenet, make an investment of self, infusing into their creation all that was needed for the sustaining and enhancement of life in habitation, only to circumvent the very system of living they purposed for humanity to engage? We have not only turned the other cheek and a blind eye to tyranny, but tyranny has conditioned us to turn away from ourselves, working in cooperation with all that has come forth of Nyame Nyamewa, the divine mother and father of humanity. Could it be that the last bastion of divine providence lie amidst the dysfunction and tattered pathology of the unruly, those black African youth of our inner cities who are adorned in the war-torn garments of self-determination and governance, while on the other hand, those black Americans filled with Negro conceit, funded and backed by the European pride, become presidents that offer no resolution, doctors who will not suggest alternatives to pharmaceuticals, sports icons who don't think to establish new leagues, and artists who peddle the brand. The revolutionary of today, with black fist on high, is vigilant until he or she gets a seat at the table. The revolutionary of today must not be connected to that Loa that sponsored what became in 1804, nor do they recognize the principal insight declared of the Loa, the Orisha, the Nechiru, the spirit of revolution in the 70s, which said that the revolution will not be televised. I can't let nobody